Today we are going to talk about the story of one of the calmest and most underrated goalkeepers in the history of world football. A goalkeeper who didn't talk much, didn't try to attract attention, but that is exactly what made him a legend. His name is Dida. His full name is Nelson de Jesus Silva, but the football world knows him by one simple name, Dida, a very short name, but with a very long story behind it. Many people talk about Buffon, Casillas, or Neuer when discussing great goalkeepers. But if we go back to the early 2000s, there was one name that always appeared among the best goalkeepers in the world, and that name was Dida. Dida's story is not the story of a player who became successful instantly. In fact, it is the opposite. His journey was filled with doubt, pressure, and difficult moments. But that is exactly where he proved who he really was. Dida was born on October 7, 1973. In a small town in Brazil called Irará. It was not a big city like Rio de Janeiro or São Paulo. There were no big stadiums, no famous football academies, and no luxury facilities. He grew up like most Brazilian kids, playing football in the streets, on empty fields, in places that were far from perfect. From a young age, Dida already showed that he was different. He was not a kid who talked a lot. He was not very noticeable outside the pitch. But when he stood under the goalpost, everything changed. His reflexes were incredibly fast, his body was tall and strong, and the most interesting thing was his calmness. Even when facing powerful shots from close range, he still looked relaxed. Many people said that since he was young, Dida already had a very strong mentality. He didn't panic easily. He didn't get scared easily. And that was exactly what made him perfect as a goalkeeper. His professional career started at a Brazilian club called Vitória. This was where he truly began to take football seriously. He did not become a star immediately. He had to work hard, train longer than others, and prove himself every single day. But slowly, the coaches began to realize that Dida was not an ordinary goalkeeper. He was tall, his reflexes were outstanding, and he almost never looked nervous. Even in big matches, he always played in the same way, calm, focused, and confident. It didn't take long before bigger clubs in Brazil started to notice him. Eventually, Dida moved to Cruzeiro. This was where his career really started to rise. With Cruzeiro, he won important trophies and began to be known as one of the best goalkeepers in Brazil. One of the most important moments of his career in Brazil was when he helped his club win a major title in South America. This was not just any tournament. It was the most prestigious competition in South America. Many great players were born from this competition, and Dida became one of them. His incredible performances attracted the attention of European clubs, and finally, the big opportunity arrived. Dida moved to Italy and joined one of the biggest clubs in the world, AC Milan. But like many South American players, his early career in Europe was not easy. Football in Italy was very different from football in Brazil. The game was harder, faster, and much more tactical. Every small mistake could have a big impact. At the beginning of his time in Milan, Dida was even doubted. Many people thought he would not last long. There was even a period when he had to be loaned to another club. This was a very difficult time for any player. Many players give up at this point. Many players lose their confidence. But Dida did not give up. He kept training. He kept working hard. And most importantly, he kept believing that one day he would get another chance. And that chance finally came. The early 2000s were the time when AC Milan began to rise again. The club started building an incredibly strong team. In defense, they had legendary players. In midfield, they had very creative players. And deadly strikers. And under the goalpost, there was Dida, This was the moment when the world finally saw the real quality of Dida. He was not a goalkeeper who liked to show off. He did not make dramatic saves just to look impressive. He did not try to attract attention. But that was exactly what made him so effective. When opponents shot the ball, Dida was always in the right position. When dangerous chances appeared, he was always ready. And the most incredible thing was that he almost never looked panicked. One of Dida's greatest strengths was his reflexes. Many players were already sure they were going to score, but suddenly Dida appeared and stopped the shot. Even from very close range, he could still make the save calmly. It didn't take long before AC Milan fans realized that they had a world-class goalkeeper. In every match, Dida became more confident. In every season, he became stronger. And slowly, he transformed from a doubted player into one of the best goalkeepers in the world. Then came the moment that changed everything. AC Milan reached the Champions League final. It was one of the most intense matches in football history. Two giant teams faced each other. No one wanted to lose. Every chance felt extremely important. And finally, the match had to be decided by a penalty shootout. This is the most difficult moment for a goalkeeper. There is nowhere to hide. There is no second chance. It is just one against one. The shooter against the goalkeeper. And Dida was outstanding, with incredible calmness. He managed to read the direction of the ball. He saved several important penalties. And in the end, AC Milan became champions. That night, the world truly recognized the name Dida. From that moment, Dida became one of the most feared goalkeepers in Europe. The best strikers in the world knew that scoring against him was not easy. He had the ideal body for a goalkeeper, incredibly fast reflexes, and a very strong mentality. Besides his success at club level, Dida also had an impressive career with the Brazilian national team. He was part of Brazil's golden generation filled with legendary players. In that team, there were players like Ronaldo, Ronaldinho, Rivaldo, and many more. Competing in the Brazilian national team is never easy. Every position is filled with the best players. But Dida still proved that he deserved to be there. He played in major tournaments and always delivered solid performances as Chimi went on and more respected. Not only by fans, but also by other players. Many strikers said that Dida was one of the hardest goalkeepers to beat. Not because he always made spectacular saves, but because he almost never made mistakes. That is what made him different. When we talk about great goalkeepers, we usually think about incredible saves. But Dida proved that being a great goalkeeper is not only about spectacular moments. It is also about consistency, calmness, and mental strength. As he got older, his performance slowly declined. That is normal for every player. But one thing never changed: the respect from the fans. For AC Milan supporters, Dida was not just a player. He was part of the club's history. He was the goalkeeper who helped Milan win many trophies. He was the player who could always be trusted in the most important moments. And even though his name is not always mentioned among the greatest goalkeepers of all time, for many classic football fans, Dida will always be a true legend. From a young boy in a small town in Brazil to a world-class goalkeeper, and finally remembered as one of the greatest goalkeepers in AC Milan's history. Dida's story is proof that success does not always come quickly. Sometimes success comes to those who are patient, who keep working hard, and who never give up. And that is the story of Dida. If you enjoy legendary football stories like this, make sure you stay on this channel, because there are still many incredible stories from the world of football that we will talk about in the next videos.